Morning, everybody. You are tuned into Crowdcore. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Now then, I saw something today, man, and I felt as though I had to speak on it because it's fucking mad. Do you know what? That's basically all you can say about it. It's fucking mad. I feel like at this point, you know, the world has gone absolutely crazy. I know I've been saying this for 2 years. And it has been as well, hasn't it? It's been 2 years of saying this. But I do feel as though, I mean, you know what? Every time you think the world's gotten crazy enough, it's gotten so crazy that it can't get any crazier. It goes and gets crazier, doesn't it? It gets crazier and crazier. And every time you just can't fucking believe it. Well, I personally can't. Anyway, I can't believe that things can get crazier. But they are doing. Now, if anybody at this point thinks that this isn't about global fucking totalitarianism, global fascist state type shit, well then you've got to be fucking ever so slightly mildly insane and a little bit blind, you know, with a pinch of blindness in there. Because if you were baking a mad cake, what would be the ingredients? Well, off the top of the head here, I think you'd need a little bit of, 200 grams of ignorance, a pinch of, blindness, to taste. And you'd certainly need an awful lot of gullibility. Fucking a lot of fear, You'd need a kilo of fear, and you'd mix it all up with a big fucking shit spoon, wouldn't you? Well, it seems that the mad cake is out of the oven and it's starting to cool on the side, waiting to be consumed. And I do believe that a few people have just been nibbling at the edges at this point, because I saw something this morning about Quebec in Canada. I mean, at this point you've got to know that Trudeau guy, that Justin Trudeau, he's a bit fucking, he's a bought and paid for pocket fascist, isn't he? Let's face it. But who would have thought that the Western world would succumb to fascism? I mean, you know what, right? Yeah, you hear about communist states, like fucking Korea and what have you. And, you've got the Chinese Communist Party and what have you. And you hear about it in the Eastern world, and you can kind of accept it because it's, I suppose, the brainwashed narrative that that's where it happens. It doesn't happen over here. But here we are. We're in 2022. And, I mean, should you follow the Gregorian calendar? And we're faced with the Western world becoming a fascist state. You've got Canada at the minute saying that if you want to go into, like a department store, like fucking, I don't know if it was Walmart or whatever they've got over there, but one of those types of places. And they were saying, this was a news report, it says that if you are unvaccinated, you can't go in there apart from to buy things like pharmaceuticals, of course, and groceries. So you can buy groceries and pharmaceuticals, but you can't buy anything else. Now remember, in the States, I mean, obviously we're in the UK here, but in the States, shops like this have all different types of things on sale there. You can even buy a gun at Walmart. Fucking shotguns and shit just lined up. And bullets and stuff. I mean, it seems like another world. It's fucking mad. But, I mean, in a good way. You know what I mean? That's like, fucking what? Like, oh, you can buy a gun at Walmart. Look at how The most fatal thing we can buy at Walmart here, well, Asda, which is owned by the Walmart company, is things such as, you know, fucking knives to chop vegetables with. And you get ID'd for that. But anyway, if you go into one of these places, you have a security guard, apparently, escorting you around to ensure that you don't buy anything other than groceries and pharmaceuticals. Now, I mean, this, remember, is about being vaccinated or not. This is what they're saying. If you're unvaccinated, then you can't buy anything other than groceries or pharmaceuticals. Well, I would say this. If this was about health, just pure and simply about health, once you're in the building, I mean, would they even let you in the building to, no, number one, would they let you in the building? No, because they would say, well, I'm sorry, as they've been saying all along, that if you're inside, you're more at threat than when you're outside. Now, you can kind of understand the theory behind that, whether it makes any difference or not. You know, school's out. I mean, literally. I mean, fucking, you know, who knows? Probably not. It probably makes zero fucking difference, all right? It's like the masks and all these other fucking stupid rules that fucking make absolutely no difference to, you know, this thing that they're calling COVID. Whatever it is, they're calling it COVID, all right? At this point, you got to fucking say, well, if it's something, they're calling it COVID. But okay, so they're telling you that it's more dangerous inside buildings where you are, you know, around people that you don't usually come across. Fair enough. Okay, you know, they just don't want people to fucking unite, do they? They want separation. Last thing they want is for you to unite with, you know, with strangers, you know, create an army, form an army with your fellow man against the actual threat, which is global tyranny. But anyway, they're telling you nonetheless that you have to be more wary of this thing, you know, wherever it is, if you are indoors in these big buildings, these big open, airy buildings. It's not like you're in a little fucking cottage, you know, with ceilings down here. You got to fucking bend down to get through the doors like a hobbit's house. No, it's in a big fucking like warehouse type building, you know, high ceilings and shit, loads of fucking aircon filtering the air. Oh yeah, fucking hell. Be afraid, be very afraid. But anyway, they're telling you this and you're believing it, so whatever, you know, for argument's sake, let's just go along with it for the fucking sake of this video. So inside it's more severe. So if, let's just say, it was so dangerous to be inside one of these places that are fucking very well ventilated, if you weren't vaccinated, if it was extremely fucking dangerous for an unvaccinated person to be in one of these places, point blank, well, they just wouldn't let you in. But they're letting you in. But then they're fucking putting restrictions and stipulations over what it is you can actually purchase. So what difference does it make what you buy at the point of when you're indoors? When you've got through those doors, does it matter whether you're buying an item on your grocery list, a packet of fucking paracetamol, or a shotgun and some shells? Does it really matter? Does it matter if you're buying fucking, I don't know, an item of clothing? No, it doesn't, does it? But what they're doing is forcing you. They're basically creating the requirement for you to go past the bare minimum of your basic fucking needs. They're saying, if you want anything more than basic survival, then you've got to get a vaccine. That's what they're telling you. They are restricting your life to the point where, in order, if you want to go anywhere past the threshold of basic survival, you've got to get a vaccine. Now, who would have known that in the Western world, in 2022, the modern world, where we should be flying around in fucking spaceships by now, you know, intermingling with interplanetary fucking civilizations, you know, learning from other civilizations on, I don't know, how to better ourselves spiritually and mentally, you know. Where did we go wrong? Where did we take a fucking right turn, you know, and end up here where the Western world is being fucking fascistically controlled under the totalitarian boot? You know, Orwell, somebody else said this just recently. I can't remember who it was now. I think it was David Icke, actually, on that Rose Icke 6. Fantastic interview, by the way. I can recommend it. It's good watching. But he was saying that Orwell would be turning in his grave. And you know what? I agree with him. Orwell would be turning in his grave. He'd be fucking... You know what? Orwell would be jealous. He'd be thinking to himself, why the fuck didn't I come up with this? You know, I just didn't think people would believe it. That's why I didn't put it in the book. That's what he would say. I didn't write it in 1984 because I didn't think it would be believable enough for it to sell, you know. But instead, fucking hell, this off the reservation. Wow. I mean, these people that are in control, if you don't believe at this point, somebody said this to me the other day, if you don't believe, and it was so fucking refreshing to hear, if you don't believe by this point that there is a small group of people controlling all of this, well then you fucking gotta be right, and you need shaking and waking up, you know. You gotta be fucking shook to within an inch of your life, because at the end of the day, man, here in the UK, fucking hell, we are, you know, the restrictions are subsiding, but that's giving us the ability to look around and say, well, what else is going on in the rest of the world? Because we're kind of not blinded by the blinkers of, you know, the totalitarianism right now. Even though they are keeping it in there, it's not as bad as it is in some places. And you've got to fucking look around. And I tell you what, it is getting bad. I mean, Australia has been bad all along, hasn't it? Now you've got Canada. Where next? I mean, fucking hell. America, I'm just glad you've got people like DeSantis. You know, Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida. Hats off to that guy. Whether he's mafia owned or not, I don't know. And yeah, it's all political, isn't it? It's no good for the mafia for businesses to be closed down and stuff like that. And, you know, fucking thank God for the mafia. That's what I'm saying. For the people in Florida, thank God for the mafia, because if not for them, that place would be just as fucked. But it goes to show you that there can be power structures in place that can fight this. You know, you look at the mob, and they are quite clearly tasty enough, and by tasty I mean fucking tasty enough, to take on the government, at least in one state. And fucking good for them. Whatever their motives are, you know, probably financial, you know, they've got to keep their organisation going. Fair enough. Whatever their motives are, at least freedom is a byproduct of that. The freedom for the people that live there is a byproduct of that. And if that's a byproduct of that, then, well, I dare say that the end justify the means. So, you know, I mean, fucking hell. But I mean, look at it. At the minute, it seems to be that people are alluding towards espionage, you know, spy games with regards to China. Now, I don't know if this is all a double bluff, though. That's what's got me thinking. Is this all a double bluff? Because look at what's happening in the world, right? We're on the precipice of the fucking can being opened up on the ancient origins of human life. story. The extraterrestrial story is bubbling under the surface, just percolating there, ready to be released when they need it to be. It all starts to link together and tie together for the final fucking reveal. And what would that mean? It's only going to be to benefit the cabal, whatever you want to call them. For easy, you know, fucking purposes, we'll just say the cabal, because that's what people know them as at this point. This small group of fucking self-appointed fucking elite toss bags. But anyway, it's going to be to benefit them, isn't it? And you've got to look, they're going to fucking say, from what I've been hearing, and it's obvious, I mean, it alludes to this, it's obvious if you fucking look at it and you start piecing the puzzle together, that they're going to say, well, you know, the reason we need a one world government is because we're the ones, you know, who are more important than everybody else because we've got our bloodline to this ancient race. Oh, and by the way, this is the story of, you know, this is the new story of history. We've been finding it out. And, you know, the ancient civilization story is what they're going to fucking use to bring this out, more than likely. It all starts to tie in. You look at things like with Epstein, you know, tied to all of this. Thank you for, you know, to Dark Journalist for the info on that and for the hard work on researching all the links to that, because I've tried and it's fucking hard to find these breadcrumbs. It's very difficult. You got to fucking, God knows where he's looking, man. But anyway, look at places like China, which is where I was coming with that. Look at places like China. They are deeply steeped in ancient civilization. Like they've got links to that ancient part of history. Now, we are talking only thousands of years here, probably in the tens of thousands perhaps, but the Chinese dynasties go back. It's almost like the living age of the Egyptian dynasties and what they were. It's, you know, and you look at places like the Middle East, you know, Iraq, Afghanistan, they have got links and ties to this ancient world. Look at the fucking the Vedic texts and all of that come out of these places. These ancient civilizations that have got links and ties, historical fucking texts, if they are all destroyed, well, then you can just quite literally rewrite the history books. So the fact that this is all being pushed towards China and it's being publicized by the media, the mainstream media, remember that. Everything on the mainstream media is fucking propaganda, man. Everything is out there for a fucking reason to benefit the cabal, because the cabal own it. They're not going to allow anything out on the mainstream media that they don't want, that they can't use as leverage against the public. So if they are publicising all of this shit towards China, well, you fucking got to look at it and say, well, there's a reason for it, which means you've got to start reading between the lines. And it's starting to make me think that perhaps if they want to go to war with China, if they want to start directing the public hatred towards China, I mean, look at all the shit we've been through over the past couple of years. Now, all of a sudden, there's a focal point for that rage. Oh, it's not the government's fault. It's the Chinese. That's what they're going to say. Oh, yeah, well, all of this. Look how the Chinese are starting to get militarily, you know, prepared with their rockets and stuff. Things are starting to bubble with Russia. All of this. And you say, well, maybe they just want to fucking get rid of the Chinese. Because if they're going to start bringing in this new ancient civilization theory, they got to get rid of all the old dynasties. They got to get rid of all of the history, all of the potential fucking shit that can come back and bite them in the arse. And that's what I'm starting to think. That maybe this is just all one big fucking play. It's a big double bluff. What it's a big bluff is what they are. They're fucking just bluffing the public into thinking that the Chinese, and it's been played probably over fucking tens, maybe 100 years. It's been played. Why do you think the Americans fucking got into bed with the Chinese with the Wuhan lab? And it just happened to come out that fucking this Charles Lieber guy, this fucking Dr. Lieber, was, you know, working with the Chinese and all of that, and they were bringing vials over to America. And now there's all of these emails and phone calls with Dr. Fauci alluding to the fact that they knew it was in the it was man-made in the Wuhan lab. Oh, by the way, yes, it's all the Chinese. And that seems to be the fucking word on the streets, man, is the fact that the fucking Chinese, it's alluded to, isn't it, that the Chinese are behind all of this. And then you've got all of this Chinese espionage that's being reported. Money for the Biden family from people directly linked to the fucking Chinese Communist Party and all of this. And you say, well, this is all very convenient. You know what I mean? Remember who it is that's reporting on all of this. Who's been reporting on the fucking COVID stuff? Who's been reporting on all of this and making you believe that all of this shit is worthy of locking the fucking country down? People's grandparents have been fucking dying alone. And they're telling you, oh yeah, you know, wear a fucking mask if you want to fucking prove that you care about someone else's grandma. But yet they've been lying to the population of the world and telling you that it's okay to let these people die alone based on a fucking lie. Oh yeah, you know, they care about your fucking old people. They care about your elderly, of course they do. No, do they? Fuck. They don't at all, do they? But you see, this is the people. It's the same people that have been doing all of this that are now reporting on the Chinese, directing all of this fucking blame on the Chinese. Now, you know what? It might well be the Chinese. It fucking might well be. Who knows? But when you look at this and you look at past histories and you start reading between the lines, you can see clearly that there is always an agenda behind every single thing. I mean, just look at the last 2 years. There's always an agenda behind every single thing that the mainstream media will report on, because the mainstream media is a direct fucking puppet. It's a fucking tool, a weapon of the cabal, man, of these elusive few. That is a fucking fact. You got to look at the conglomerate companies that fucking own everything. It's just an illusion of choice. There is no fucking separation. Everything is owned by a few companies, and they're all fucking members of the same board, and they're all fucking in bed with one another. You got to look at things like the Bilderbergs. That's fucking low-hanging fruit, man. They give you that to make you think that they're the people that are in charge. But really, you know, these are just the businessmen that run the companies for them. So anyway, I mean, that's just my opinion. But anyway, here we are, 2022. We're headed towards a fucking conflict. Of course we are. And just fucking keep an open mind, and please think twice before you go along with handing over your hatred to be moulded and formed and directed in the ways that the mainstream want it to be. Because that, my friends, is a very, very dangerous policy. I would say just keep your own counsel, stay calm, don't make decisions, you know, in the moment based on your fucking reaction and shit like that. Just fucking take a step back, take a breath, have a minute, and think about it for a moment, okay, before you make decisions of where you want to place your hatred. Because right now, since the narrative is starting to shift, what they're doing is they've created a backlog of angst. They've created a backlog of heartache. They've fucking ruined people's lives. There is so much like fucking need for vengeance in a lot of people. People want their pound of flesh. People want someone to blame it on. They're fucking sick and tired of it. They've had relatives commit suicide. I heard about another person the other day committed suicide. Another fucking tragedy. That I have heard more people talk about how they know somebody who's committed suicide in the last 2 years than I ever have in my whole life. Up until the last 2 years, I knew one person that had committed suicide. One person. Now, I fucking hear everybody talking about folks that have committed suicide that they know. So that's the fourth person that I know within, 2 degrees of separation that have committed suicide. It is fucking insane. People are sick and tired of it. But when the narrative starts to change and the public seem to be, oh yeah, we're hearing you now. Yes, we'll hold our hands up. We're going to sack Boris. Yeah, because he's had a fucking party. Who fucking cares? Who cares if he was partying while the Queen was sat on her fucking own? She wasn't, was she? I dare say she fucking wasn't. It's fucking media fucking propaganda again. They want you to fucking feel sorry for the Queen, so in which case you feel anger towards the fucking government. Why are they pressing this party thing? It's because they want you to, they want to give you your pound of flesh, because what that does is it quells the public. And now they're getting you in the mindset of vengeance. They've had you in the mindset of fear. They've had you in the mindset of we're all in this together. We're fucking allowing ourselves to be mentally, spiritually, and fucking physically, financially destroyed for the greater good. Yeah, because we're at war with COVID or whatever it is that's fucking they're calling COVID. And now they're shifting the narrative. They're changing the trajectory, and they're creating a fucking narrative of vengeance now. So when they're starting to plant the seeds, remember, whatever happens now has a trajectory out into the future. They're planting the seeds of vengeance towards the possibility of China. That, considering that all of this stuff at the start was around China, you've got to start looking and saying, well, perhaps it's been the plan all along. Maybe China are in on it. End of the day, the Chinese fucking government are just the same as the British government. They're not really in control. They're just controlled by a greater fucking puppet master. Which means someone's getting paid off somewhere and everybody's just going along with it because that's what they've been told to do. And if you look past the government level and you see that this is all orchestrated, well, that means that if this came out of China, it was meant to. If they're trying to direct our vengeance or our need for vengeance now towards China, that's what they want us to do. Therefore, the only way to win, the only way to fight these people is to not go along with what it is they are pushing you to go along with. And if that's hating China, well, then you need to not hate China. If that's fucking hating people that haven't got a vaccine or don't wear a fucking mask, well, then that's stopping doing so. I have said for over a year now, at the start of all these videos, I was taking the piss mainly, because the whole fucking situation was just so shockingly insane. I had to just fucking get it out. But now, through going through that process, I realised that compassion, and like I said, I've been saying this for over a year now, that compassion here is the key now. We need to have compassion for everybody. And layered with that is the knowledge that it's all a fucking script, it's all a play, and there is a plan for everything. And the only way the plan works is if you go along with it. Whether that's unassumingly or not, you need to stop being an unassuming player in this game. You need to stop being a fucking blind witness, to fucking put it plainly. All right? So you've got to just fucking open your mind now and open your eyes and see this for what it is, which is an out and out play. Which is why every step takes us further into it and it doesn't take us out. Because it's meant to take us in. See this as a very small group of individuals orchestrating this plan. And if you start to see it like that, you will realise, you'll be able to see it from that perspective. And at that point, you can look down and say, well, okay, that's why this is happening here. That's why that's happening there. If Canada, a nation such as fucking so big, as large as Canada, if a nation that big is able to be bashed under the boot of totalitarianism, and people are going to go along with it, a place as fucking liberal as Canada. Let's not forget that cannabis was fucking legalized in Canada a fucking long time ago. Places like British Columbia, people were fucking flocking there like the salmon of Capistrano to get high legally. I mean, and now it's the most fucking, one of the most totalitarian places on the planet, along with fucking places like Australia, you know, and China. You got to look. It's all fucking starting to happen on the outskirts. And before you know it, it's going to start spreading in. It's like a fucking wall being built inside one another each time. Before you know it, you're walled in. Like painting a fucking spider into a fucking ring on the wall, isn't it? It can't get out anymore. Now the drips are starting to come down. Before you know it, the spider's part of the fucking paintwork. This goes deep. And it goes deeper than what I can probably comprehend. I'm not afraid to admit that. I'm probably just on the fucking surface here with what I'm saying. I mean, it's all speculation anyway. You know, I'm just fucking off the top of the head, just speculating over things that I've seen. Trying to put the pieces together. But we've got to do this. We've got to do this. We've got to speculate. Maybe so. And there are people out there that have got a greater handle on this. And I seriously urge every single person that watches these videos to seek out the people that I talk about, that I get my information from, and so on, and then seek out the people that they have gotten their information from, and then so on, and get higher up the fucking chain of information and knowledge, you know, and what do they call it, intelligence, to the point where you are now exposing yourself to the purest form of information that's at its least point filtered, or at least filtered to the least amount that it can be. Because, you know, I'm speaking on a level here, and everybody, you know, there's people that are on different levels, up and up and up. And I would say, just, if I've mentioned somebody in my videos, go and look at theirs. And then the people who they mention, go and look at theirs, and so on and so on. The people in these books that you will end up reading and that are referenced, go and look at them. And start to fucking seek out information. Because at that point, you will be readying yourself for the coming war that will be fought with this and this. It's already happening. We're already in it. So, late starters, man, let's fucking get going. You know, let's get in. You know, let's dig deep and let's get fucking down and dirty with this information. Because that's the only way we're ever going to come out on top. And on that note, I'm going to wish love and peace to all things everywhere. You know what it is. This is Cragcore. I'm signing off here. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Do all that good stuff. Peace.